Ethan Parker had always been known as the man who never had time. If someone asked him to join them for lunch, he'd reply, maybe next week. If his daughter begged for a bedtime story, he'd mutter, Daddy's busy. If his aging mother called just to talk, he'd let it go to voicemail with the excuse, I'll call her later. Later, however, rarely came. It wasn't that Ethan was a bad man. He was ambitious, determined, and sharp, an investment consultant in New York, rising quickly in his firm. To him, every minute was a transaction, every hour a resource to be optimized. Time was money, and he refused to waste either. But one Friday evening, that philosophy was tested. It was close to midnight when his phone buzzed. Ethan was half asleep at his desk, still reviewing financial reports. The name on the screen startled him. Mom. Mom, are you okay? He asked immediately. Her voice was soft, but strained. Ethan, can you come home tomorrow? Just for the weekend. He sighed. Tomorrow was packed, meetings, a dinner with clients, and preparations for Monday's presentation. Mom, I really can't. Maybe next month. There was silence on the other end. Then she whispered, I just miss you. Something inside Ethan twisted, but he pushed it down. I'll make it soon, promise. After hanging up, he rubbed his forehead and muttered, time, if only I had more of it. The next morning, his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, rushed into his study holding a drawing. Daddy, look, I made us a family picture. He glanced at it distractedly, stick figures with big smiles, holding hands under a yellow sun. She had written me, Mommy, Daddy, Grandma. That's nice, sweetheart, he said, not looking up from his laptop. Can you come to the park with us today? She asked hopefully. Not today, Lily. Daddy has important work. Her shoulders sank, but she didn't argue. She just placed the drawing on his desk, like an offering, and walked away. For a brief second, Ethan stared at the picture. They were all smiling, holding hands. Is that really what I look like to her? He wondered. Then his phone rang, and the thought vanished. That evening, Ethan stepped outside for air. The New York streets buzzed with life, taxi horns, flashing lights, people rushing. He barely noticed any of it, lost in deadlines and numbers. At the corner, a frail old man sat on a bench, clutching a worn pocket watch. His clothes were shabby, but his posture was dignified. Something about him drew Ethan's attention. Young man, the stranger said, raising the watch. Do you know the true value of time? Ethan chuckled. Of course. I build my whole career on it. The old man shook his head. No, you build your career on money. Time is far more expensive. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? Money lost can be earned again. But time wasted. He closed the watch with a snap. It's gone forever. Before Ethan could respond, the man stood up, gave him a gentle nod, and disappeared into the crowd. For reasons he couldn't explain, Ethan felt unsettled. The man's words echoed in his head the rest of the night. On Monday morning, as Ethan prepared for his big presentation, he received another call, this time from his sister. Her voice was trembling. Ethan, it's Mom. She collapsed last night. She's in the hospital. The world seemed to tilt. He grabbed his keys, canceled his meetings, and sped to the hospital. When he arrived, his mother lay in bed, pale but conscious. Her eyes lit up when she saw him. You came. Guilt crushed him. I should have come sooner. I'm sorry, Mom. She reached for his hand, her skin fragile against his. Don't be sorry. Just be here now. For hours, he sat with her, listening to her stories, holding her hand, realizing how much he had missed in the name of being busy. That night, he promised himself things would change. Over the following weeks, Ethan began making small but deliberate changes. He turned down a promotion that demanded endless overtime. He scheduled family time into his calendar as if it were the most important meeting of the day. He visited his mother every weekend, not with guilt, but with gratitude. But the most profound shift came from Lily. One afternoon, she ran to him, excited. Daddy, can you help me build a birdhouse? His instinct was to say, later. But instead, he closed his laptop and said, yes. Right now. Her squeal of joy was unlike anything he had heard before. Together, they hammered, painted, and laughed until the little wooden house was complete. When they hung it in the backyard, Lily whispered, this is the best day ever. For the first time in years, Ethan felt something deeper than success. He felt alive. Months passed. Ethan thought he had finally grasped the meaning of time. But life wasn't done teaching him. One autumn morning, while driving to meet a client, Ethan witnessed a car accident. Without hesitation, he pulled over. A young man lay injured on the road, bleeding, dazed. Ethan knelt beside him. "Hang on, help is coming." The man weakly grabbed his arm. "Please, call my mom. I don't know if I have much time." Ethan's chest tightened. He quickly dialed the number the man dictated. When the woman answered, Ethan said, "Your son's been in an accident. He wants to talk to you." The young man whispered into the phone, "Mom, I love you." Then he fainted. The ambulance arrived, and they rushed him away. Ethan never found out if he survived. But that moment haunted him, the desperation of a son not asking for money, not asking for possessions, but begging for a few more seconds with his mother. It struck Ethan like lightning. This is what time really means. It's not about schedules or productivity. It's about love, connection, presence. That night, Ethan sat with his daughter on the porch, the birdhouse swaying gently above them. He looked at Lily, then at the stars. "Sweetheart," he said softly, "I want you to know, no matter how busy I ever seem, you're always my first priority. Always." She tilted her head, studying him. "Really, Daddy, really?" She leaned against his shoulder and whispered, "Then I don't need anything else." Tears filled his eyes. In that moment, Ethan understood. Time itself was love, measured not in hours or minutes, but in memories created and hearts touched. Years later, when people spoke about Ethan, they didn't talk about his career or his bank account. They remembered the man who showed up, for his daughter's school plays, for his mother's last birthdays, for neighbors in need. He had learned the most expensive lesson life could offer. The true value of time isn't in what you earn, but in how you give it. And he gave it, freely, fully, beautifully, until his last breath.